All right, so what we're going to talk about in this video, why most demos fail before they even start. 2, how to qualify leads properly so your sales team stop wasting time or yourself. 3, the structure of a perfect demo that builds trust fast. 4, common mistakes sales rep make in the middle of a call. 5, how to close smoothly and follow up like a pro. And 6, a few actionable steps on how you can implement today to tighten up your entire process and the changes that you can make. So without further ado, let's jump right into it and start with why most demos fail before they even start. Now, most demos fail because A, there's no pre-demo follow-up sequence. So let me explain. Let's say you have a landing page, right? And then in the landing page, you have a book a demo. What you're going to find is when somebody books a slot with you, there's absolutely no follow-up or email being sent. What we've seen at Wave is the second somebody schedules a follow-up, 2 things happen. There's a immediate follow-up email that's being sent that tells them, hey, thank you for booking a call. Here's some additional information on Wave. Now, the second thing that's going to happen is a pre-demo notification. So 1 day and 1 hour before the call, they will get a notification saying, hey, don't forget you have a call scheduled with X. And then lastly, once you have set up these follow-up sequences here, before they even get on the demo, one of the most important rules is if they don't join the demo, you either send them an email or you pick up the phone and you give them a call so that they join. A lot of the times people don't join a demonstration, not because they don't want to, but it's because they totally forgot. So if you can go ahead and send 2 follow-ups before the demo starts and give them a call or an email that they don't join, you're effectively going to increase the amount of people who attend your demos. And if they attend your demos more, you'll close more sales. So that is part A. And we'll jump into the next part here. This is crucial right here. This is extremely crucial. A lot of the times, salespeople will just go into the call, not even doing the research to learn more about their prospect. And this is just take the time. It's 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes. That's all you need to go on LinkedIn, to go on Google and search up what the company's about, what they've been doing, why might this be a fit, who is the person that you're talking to, are they a decision maker, do they not make any decisions? Like you could tell by the job title. And by just quickly scanning LinkedIn or wherever your ideal customer is, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever it might be, find where that customer is and learn more about that customer. Because just being armed with more information is going to effectively help you understand that customer better, and you'll be much more prepared on the call. So that's pretty simple and straightforward. Now, the third thing is the demo deck is generic, not tailored to the buyer's use case. And a lot of noob salespeople fall for this. So you'll have like a static deck that's not tailored to that person's problem specifically. And you might solve the same problem for multiple different customers, but you need to frame it in that sense. So I'll give you an example. So Wave is a digital business card, right? But there's 3 markets that we serve pretty well. So this is the real estate market. So real estate brokers, we have insurance brokers, and we have auto dealers. Forget my writing. It is horrible. I know. So yeah, I'm not going to have a generic Wave deck for every single one of these because that doesn't make sense. What I want to do is create a deck that's going to be specific to every single one with the way they talk, with their lingo, with their language, with images of real estate brokers, of auto dealers and cars. So you want to tailor it specifically to your audience so it feels like it's for them. It's like if I just say we're a digital business card, or I say we're a digital business card built for realtors, right? Or a digital business card built for the auto industry and have a deck for that. It feels like you're talking specifically to that ICP, directly to that customer. And it's a lot stronger than, hey, this is a tool for everybody and it works for hundreds of different industries. So you really want to tailor to your buyer's use case and hone in your messaging in your demo deck or your presentation. All right, so the next thing is no clear agenda is set up front, leaving the call unstructured. Another newbie mistake is you don't do the research, but then you jump on the call not knowing what you're going to talk about. And this is just setting yourself up for failure because you have no clear agenda. You have no idea how you're going to, sequence your thoughts. What I tend to do is just understand in general, how you're going to guide the conversation forward. I like to break it up into 3 different parts, which we're going to talk about later. The first part will be the intro / problem finding. Okay. The second part is going to be the proof and trust. So you're going to show the product, you're going to show the testimonials, how this works for people in their industry, and you're really going to guide them through that demonstration by showing exactly how it works. And then the third part is obviously the close / follow-up. And by just keeping it as simple as that, an intro and problem finding, then explaining how it works with some proof, and then closing and follow-ups, at least you know what you're going into. And this might be different for every single person, but effectively get some sort of structure in your mind of how you're going to move this demonstration forward. All right. So the next one is you focus on features, not solving pain points. I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say I'm trying to sell you a digital business card and I tell you, hey, we connect to a CRM. You'll tell me, okay, great. Like every other damn tool connects to a CRM, like bravo. So that's something you don't want to do. The way you want to frame it in terms of pain points is, hey, Jack, you go to a bunch of events, and instead of having to manually type hundreds of leads from an Excel file to get an event, you can just set up this integration with HubSpot, and you're going to save 10 plus hours a week because we're just going to automate those leads and have them pushed directly to your database without you even having to move a finger. So instead of saying, hey, we have CRM integrations, the way I'm framing it is, you have a pain point. You're sitting there for 10 hours a week after an event trying to input data manually. Why don't you just set this up with us? And the way it's going to work, save 10 hours a week, right? It's not like we set an integration. No, we save 10 hours a week. Or another way to frame it is like, we have a lead capture form in our digital business cards. That's a feature. The way I can frame it is, how many times do you forget to follow up after an event? Probably like 9 times out of 10. So with Wave, after you capture some information, you'll never have to remember to follow up. We will set up the automated follow-ups for you. We'll personalize them for you as well based on, enrichment and data that we get from the web. So you have to start framing things not as features, but how you're solving pain. And pain there's a few ways to solve pain. It's like saving time, saving money. Okay, so now the last one is pretty important. It's prospects mentally check out after 3 minutes. So if you're not getting down to it, if you're just not explaining your solution properly, if they don't find like you are the solution to the problem that they're facing and you haven't made that clear on how you fit in, then after 3 minutes is all you got, they're gone. They're checked out the whole way through. They're just going to be like, yeah, not ask questions. And you're going to be pulling teeth to try and get some answers from them. So that's why it's extremely important at the beginning. Take a minute or two to do the small talk, but drive right into the pain points. Like, why are you here? What problems are you trying to solve? Is there something specific in your workflow that's not working? And you start driving down to the pain. And then once they explain the pain and it makes sense, that's when you jump right in and you say, oh, wow, well, this broker, this auto dealer, this company is facing the exact same issue. And we solved that problem by doing XYZ. So let's just jump right into it, because this is something I've heard 100 times. I'm going to show you exactly how we've solved that problem for those companies right about now. So let's jump right into it. So make sure that you shoot all the sauce, right? All the sauce at the beginning. You're really trying to figure out the problem, get them to say like, oh shit, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Let's go. I think he has a solution I'm looking for. All right. So the next thing on our list is how to qualify better without being robotic. So qualification starts before the demo request. Set clear criteria for who should even reach out to your sales team. So here's what we do. So we use like logic and integrations. So this can work in like HubSpot Forms, Calendly, Typeform, Chili Piper. What you want to do is route prospects based on size, use case, or budget. And I'll give you an example from Wave. So if a company has 3 to 10 users, which is around $60 per user per year, so you're looking at 600 in annual recurring revenue, they're not really ready for a full sales cycle and a demonstration. So they're better off being self-onboarded with a free or starter plan. So let me explain. Like, you don't want to waste your salesperson's time by jumping on a call that's not going to move the needle from a revenue perspective. There's a lot of better ways that you can be efficient in the way you acquire your customers without using human capital. So if you have a deal size that's $50 per month, there's absolutely no reason that you should be jumping on a call, right? that needs to have a product-led motion. You can have a self-onboarded motion, whether if you're not selling a product, for example, you're selling a service or a course or whatever it might be, but you have to know when to route your prospects, right? So you have to filter out the low value calls so your team can focus on high ACV leads. And that's going to effectively help you scale. It's going to help your team focus on bigger deals because it's going to take the exact same work doing 10 users as it is going to do to, doing 100 users. So just make sure that you're clear on qualifying before the demonstration because you just don't want to waste your time. And there's better ways to acquire those customers that's a lot more efficient and cost effective for you. All right, so for unqualified leads, have a system that guides them towards your free tier or trial while nurturing content that brings them back once they grow, right? So the funnel would look something like this. You'd go to the page and they would effectively try and book a demonstration, right? They'll click on 5, Wednesday the 5th. They'll pick a date, click next. They'll put the name, email, phone number, company, how they heard about us. And then they'll go ahead and put a number here. Now, if they put 10 or less and they click on schedule an event, it's going to redirect them to a landing page where they can get started on their own and get started with a free trial. Now, if they put 100, then effectively we'll schedule the event and we're good to go. So just these basic tips, things that you can do to filter customers that are low ACV to onboard themselves and higher ACV contracts to kind of go to you. All right, so this is the structure of a perfect demo, and this is how I structure it. What I like to do is keep demos short and efficient. I just cannot sit down for a 30-minute plus demonstration because long calls kill focus and momentum. So what I try and do is I keep it at 15 to 20 minutes maximum. And that allows you to stay extremely focused on what you need to talk about without blabbing on, right? You're focused on the problem at hand, identifying the problem at hand, showcasing the solution, the proof, and then going straight to next steps, especially if this is like a first-time demonstration. Now, what I like to do when I structure it is I start with small talk, obviously just to build rapport, nothing forced, just like warm energy, set the tone, joke here and there, just get to know the prospect. Right after that, I'll go ahead and transition into understanding. So what they do, what do you do? And I'll ask open questions to uncover the pain point. So I've added some examples here, like asking what tools they're currently using. Why are you exploring this now? Did this come from another department or leadership? What specific problems are you trying to solve? So you're trying to gauge, first, are they the decision maker? What is their existing use case? What are they doing now? And why are they coming to you for a solution? What is the problem at hand? And it's pretty easy to uncover at the beginning. Just ask the right questions. You'll know why. Most of the time people say, hey, with paper business cards, I can't follow up with leads. These paper business cards are being lost. I can't track my event ROI. They're not going into my CRM. My marketing team has to print thousands and thousands of cards every time we change job titles or office locations. So you start figuring out whether they're in the basket of, I'm looking for a lead capture solution, or am I looking for something that's more productive for my marketing team that can make changes, org-wide in just a few clicks. So you start gauging the conversation by asking the right questions. Now, within the first 5 minutes, your goal is to understand why they're here. If they're not a fit, don't keep pushing. There's so many calls where I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is the solution for you. I don't see how this could fit. I don't do X, Y, or Z, and you're looking for this. I think this is the best direction for you, and I think this is where you should go. So don't be shy to just say no and save your time and focus on other stuff like lead generation. Now, once the problem is clear, show proof fast. So at Wave, we show real companies in the same industry. Perfect examples like in the real estate industry, insurance, finance, auto dealerships. I identify the problem and I restate that, yeah, we've worked with X, Y, Z auto dealers or insurance brokers or banks, and this is how we solve that same issue, and this is what we can do for you. So just reiterating that trust factor, that proof, is going to be huge. Subconsciously, they're going to be like, oh, okay, this was built for me. We're in the same industry. This should work for me as well if it worked for the other companies. Because I'm in SaaS, because I'm selling a product, I have the opportunity to create like an interactive demonstration. If you're selling courses and things of that nature, it's a bit different. You have a PowerPoint presentation. But in this case at Wave, we like to show the proof on the call, like hands-on, without them actually just like watching a demonstration. So we'll go ahead and have a QR code on screen and be like, hey, Scan this and see exactly the flow of how you can capture leads and how it's going to flow into your CRM. Like, I don't need to show you. You can just scan the QR code and you can experience it on your phone. And I think if you can nail this, if you can find a way for them to experience that aha moment on the spot in the demonstration, that's going to crush. And like I said at the beginning of this call, our salespeople have a 66%, close to 69%, sorry, funny number, but 69% close rate because we follow these steps. And that aha moment built with the proof will just crush for you. So if you can find a way to get something interactive, it's going to help a bunch. And it's good to note that, like, if you can't demo interactively, then show social proof, like we had mentioned before, and avoid long slide decks, right? Like, show the real product, let them see the value, focus on what matters to them, which is time saving, cost efficiency, sales productivity, lead capture impact. Hone in your messaging, hone in your demonstration. Super important, right? You do not want to continue blabbing and blabbing and blabbing. You're looking for like a 60-40 ratio. I think that's kind of the sweet spot. You talk 60% of the time, they talk 40% of the time. What you don't want is an 80-20. That is horrible because you just keep blabbing and blabbing and blabbing. You're obviously not asking enough questions. You're not understanding their pain point. And you're also not letting the customer reiterate their pain point or reiterate what they like, because them voicing what they like is effectively them convincing themselves that they like it and they're more likely to get sold. And when I solved this problem, going from 80 to 60, conversion rates skyrocketed. So really focus on your talking time because it's going to be very, very, very important. And if you find like you want to improve it, all you have to do is every 2 to 3 minutes, ask them, does that make sense? Is this what you were hoping to see? Would that solve your issue? Just going to take a pause. Do you have any questions? Are we on the right track? And just doing that will let them go ahead and voice their opinions and talk. Everything else I said above does not matter unless you do this. Nothing else matters, right? You could do the whole demonstration from A to Z. And if you do not crush this point, nothing will matter. And here's why. Always end with a clear next steps. If you leave the conversation open-ended, your demonstration, your closing, everything is gone. It was all for nothing, right? It was all for nothing. So either close the call, book the next steps. And if you didn't close the call, you still set up a follow-up or a touch point with actionable next steps. Whenever a meeting ends, there's always a meeting to come after it. And you need to push hard for it. Like, if they say no, you say, let's put it tentatively. If they say no, you say, you drive down because no is that objection. So it is extremely important to book that next call because it's going to unravel any objections, but it's also going to let you focus on the deal and make sure that you close it because there's actual next steps. All right. So these are some common mistakes reps make mid demo, and we talked about most of them. I just want to throw them out there. So over talking or interrupting when the buyer shows interest, don't do that, right? Like, let the customer speak, let them talk. And once they shut it, then you can go ahead and jump right in. So never interrupt the buyer. They're convincing themselves as they talk. Do not do this. Again, drive into the pain points, the benefits, the reason why, what are they going to get from your product? Not the features, not that we have lead capture, CRM integrations, and follow-ups, right? So you never want to drive into these features. You want to drive into the benefits. Ignoring buyer signal or skipping over objections. Never skip objections. This is like sales 101. If there's an objection, don't just keep rambling on. Attack the objection, right? Jump right into it. Get an understanding of why they have this objection and how you could potentially maneuver around it, but never skip the objection. The obstacle is the way, right? The obstacle is the way. You see an objection, you go right through it. That's it. There's no other way out. There's no other option for you, right? Face it head on. Ignoring buyer signals. This happens so many times. The buyer is interested, but you decide to continue the conversation in due course because that's just how your demo is structured. So I'll give you an example. Let's say your demo is 3 steps: intro, problem. You have the intro here, you have the benefits, and then you have the outro, which is booking a call, a follow-up call. Let's say you do the intro, and then right about here, the prospect is giving you signs that this is exactly what they're looking for. Yeah, we love this. This is exactly what I want. You could just tell they're interested. Newbie salespeople will continue the conversation in due course. They will just keep babbling on like it's a script. The amount of times I've seen prospects who are ready to close 30% in or 40% into the demonstration is abnormal. So the second you start getting these buyer signals, you can just cut the conversation. You could just be like, hey, seems like this is exactly what you're looking for. Do you want to set up a 14-day trial so we can jump right in? Do you want to set up the onboarding call? What's your angle? And just go for it. So don't be too focused on like completing your script. What you need to do is just be focused on those signals. The customer is 90% there, 100% there. Just push the close, right? Like there's no need to keep selling. The point of selling is to get the sale. If you got the sale, stop trying to sell. All right, so in this section, we're going to talk about how to close smoothly and follow up properly, right? This is the last portion of our demo flow. So the first portion was the intro / problem discovery. The second portion was the benefits and proof. And the last portion here is going to be the close / follow up, right? So at the end of every demo, I always ask a soft alignment question. And that question is going to be, so based on what you saw today, is this something that you're looking for? That's kind of how I wrap my demos up, where I say something around the lines of like, did we hit the mark here? And then I just pause, right? I want to see what they say. Again, silence is a weapon in sales. So don't, rush to fill the void. And if they say no, after I ask them, is this what you were looking for? Then that's beautiful because the obstacle is the way, right? If there's an objection and you want to drive right through the objection, because that's how you're going to figure out whether this is a potential fit and it can work, or if it's really not going to work. Usually objections is either pricing, it's timing, or they just didn't understand the benefits and features. So this will typically be your issue here. Now, remember, objections are buying signals, not rejection. So this is where you can turn a no, right, to a yes. So once you've figured out exactly what the issue is, and you've turned into a yes, or if they've just said yes after you've asked them the question, just go quickly a little bit deeper. Like, was there a specific feature that stood out? You want them to reiterate and sell it to themselves and just, talk about what they liked, right? So listen carefully and use this in your follow-up emails or CRM notes. So for example, if they say, I love how you capture leads automatically, it's going to help a bunch with our CRM hygiene. You can just reinforce that and say, that's exactly what we help teams do to increase their close rates. And you want to transition now straight to pricing right after that sentence. It seems like this makes sense for a company your size and the industry that you're in and the features that we've discussed. The plan that you're looking at is $60 per user per year. This is where I transition to the pricing. And then I'll go ahead and push for the one-time close when appropriate. So if we walk through this again, it's simple. I love how your product captures leads automatically. You reinforce it. That's exactly what we help teams do to increase close rates. And, I'm happy to hear that you like the platform. The plan actually starts at $60 per user per year for the features that we discussed. Is that something that makes sense? Do you want to schedule a time to get started? And then this is where you can kind of stay silent. So you've reinforced the value proposition. They've admitted that they like it. You've set pricing and you're trying to schedule next steps. So if they say yes, that's perfect. You're in the money. You schedule those next steps. If they said yes, that this is something they're interested in, and then they say no when you do the close or say something like, I need to talk to my manager, regardless of what they say here, validate it. So makes total sense to get all the parties involved. Time box it and say, do you think you could get a decision by the end of the week, and set up a follow-up call? Because in reality, they actually might need to talk to their manager, or they might need to get approval, or they might need to do something else to just make sure that this is the right decision for them. I'm not the type of salesperson to push hard when somebody says, I need to talk to my manager. I want to understand if that is true. But if that is true, the best next step, the best course of action is to go ahead and schedule a follow-up call by simply saying, do you think you can get a decision by the end of the week? If so, does it make sense to schedule a time tentatively on Friday for us to just touch base and see if we should continue the discussion from there? Usually 90% of the time, they always set up a touch point, and it's a mental timestamp that they can focus on and they have an end date, right? There's something to look forward to. It's not just open in the air. After the call, you want to always follow up immediately. So you want to send a recap email that reinforces what they loved most. Obviously, include pricing, next steps, and any resources mentioned. Make it easy for them to say yes by keeping momentum alive. The key is control through calm pacing, right? Never rush, never chase. You're guiding the buyer to a decision, not forcing it. This is super, super key here. You're never forcing a sale. It's either it is a fit or it isn't a fit. So really always focus on the follow-up immediately. Always focus on booking the next steps, and you should be golden. So just to recap here, this is in the close section. What you want to do is ask a soft alignment question. You want to have your prospect reiterate the value and convince themselves. And then once they do, you want to go ahead and transition to pricing and push for a one-time close or the appropriate next steps. If they say yes to the next steps, you are golden. If they say no, that's an objection, and you can figure out why so you can get a yes. And then always, always, always follow up immediately so that everything stays fresh. It's in an email and you're booking the next steps. All right, so here's some actionable tips you can use and what you need to know so you can do that now. So first off, shorten your demo to 15 minutes, right? Cut out all the fluff, focus on clarity and outcomes, not just features, and respect your prospect's time. Shorter demos close faster. Then you want to qualify before every call. Use integrations like HubSpot, Calendly, Typeform to segment your leads. If they don't meet your requirement, route them to your free plan or trial. Save your team time and your own time and only jump on calls with high value prospects or high ACV customers. C is research your prospects in advance. Look them up on LinkedIn, company website, etc. Find your prospect, learn about them, learn about their company. This doesn't take you more than 5 or 10 minutes. Understand their size, their goals, their challenges. Prepare 1 or 2 examples of similar clients or use cases to reference during the demonstration. Automate your pre-demo reminders, right? Like send a thank you for booking right after they schedule. Set up 2 automated reminders. Your demo is in 24 hours. Your demo starts in an hour. Use any calendar or scheduling tool. There's so many of them out there. Literally find them. So next is structure every demo into 3 clear parts. So problem mining and discovery. You understand their needs and pain points. Showcase and proof. You demonstrate your solution, how it solves their problem. You show social proof and you make it interactive. And then the last part is closing and next steps. You confirm alignment, discuss pricing, and always set a follow-up. Before last here, build 3 ideal customer profile flows. So define your top 3 customers, create proof and testimonials for each, and frame your demo narrative using the same language and priorities. Like I cannot explain how key this is. This is key. Always end with a clear next steps. Again, this is like 90% of the game right here. If you can't do this, like it's going to be extremely hard to close deals. So never close a demo without a booked follow-up or defined action. Like I would even say, forget the defined action, like just book a follow-up if you don't know how to define an action, because this is gold. This is where everything is in the follow-ups, right? The next steps. How are we moving this deal forward? So momentum dies effectively if no invite is sent or there's no next steps. All right, so that's all, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully this helped you improve your demonstrations with actionable steps that you can take to get started right now. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I talk about sales, marketing, and my journey as a founder who has scaled to $1 million in annual recurring revenue. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.